The Quifros muting weapon. Somewhere out in deep space, there's an alien species so advanced they built the only weapon known to actually kill an awakened planet, and it looks like a red laser. The try saying that 3 times fast, developed this thing specifically to reverse planetary awakening after they learned about the ultimate purpose set in motion by the one who... Well, the sentence got cut off before they could finish, but you get the idea. Their most spectacular kill was full on. After the crew of StarGoose 6 barely escaped that mess, an unknown starship warped in and fired a single red projectile straight into Phalan's mouth. And just like that, the entire planet went inert. FRIENDGATE PT9 flatly described the ship as possessing technology vastly superior to our own, which is a soft way of saying that we're basically cooked if these guys ever change their minds about us. But the funny thing is, the weapon isn't just a planet killer. In episode 15, the Quifros fires a blue projectile that generates a massive portal, redirects a taxman's own finger into Phalan and removes it clean right off, sending the cosmic god being retreating back into its rift. Now, the taxmen have never been shown to get hurt by anything else in the entire series, so this was a genuine first. So this one weapon can take down awakened planets and even make actual taxmen bleed, which means it's the most powerful weapon known in the universe, besides of course being an actual alien god. Project FRIENDGATE. Almost a century of research, decades of failures, and a bunch of scientists getting quietly decommissioned and or disposed of for insubordination. That's roughly what it took to punch a hole through the fabric of the universe, give or take a few casualties along the way. Friend Industries called it Project FRIENDGATE, and the whole point was to reopen the residual scars left behind when the taxmen plucked Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus out of the sky back in 1984. Now, before FRIENDGATE was ever born, they threw everything they had at those rifts. We're talking moon missiles, star ducks, whatever else the marketing department could greenlight. Most of them actually went nowhere, but the revolutionary Starduck at least got a launch ceremony before disappearing from the plot entirely. Then finally, in episode 6, the gate lit up, and with it came the maiden voyage. StarGoose 6, 5, and 4, aligned in skein formation, engaged their moon drives, which were specifically designed to be used with FRIENDGATEs, and jumped through. 25 minutes to the other side, they said. Instead, what actually happened is FRIENDGATE overloaded from a gravity spike, tore itself apart, and the rift expanded wide enough to yank Neptune in behind them. That was bad enough on its own, but then episode 12 dropped the real catastrophe. Turns out, the Kafruzkov aliens revealed they engineered those rift scars on purpose, bait designed to lure ambitious species into reopening them, because they needed a variable for whatever they were planning against the taxmen. So basically, humanity walked into a cosmic trap and called it a breakthrough. Project Phobos. If you ever wondered why Friend Industries was so eager to rescue survivors from the Umbra Zone, well, this is your answer, and it's not a good one. Because as it turns out, Project Phobos is the reason moon juice powers everything on Earth in the first place. Dr. Chen figured it out right before FriendBot terminated him mid-sentence. Basically, anyone exposed to high levels of Element 75U, soldiers, workers, Umbra Zone survivors, all of them were being harvested, because moon juice isn't just an energy source, it's a fertilizer, a pink, glowing, planet-waking fertilizer, and human beings are apparently the best source of it. And that's where the Friend Pen comes in handy. Built on Phobos, the largest and innermost moon of Mars, the whole facility is dedicated to sucking the life out of every human trapped inside its zero-gravity cylinders and using their concentrated 75U as planetary fertilizer. And then in episode 14, they finally advertised what the whole thing was for. According to Friend, they leveraged Phobos as a proprietary activation conduit, utilizing responsibly sourced organic moon juice, which is a hilarious way to describe blood extracted from dying people, to activate Mars's core and trigger a full planetary awakening. And it worked. Mars smiled. The field friends stationed on the surface got dragged into its mouth, alongside Base 5 itself. But in case you thought that was the end of it, the very last scene of episode 14 confirms Deimos has been repurposed the same way to awaken Venus, which grew multiple eyes and sharper teeth for reasons nobody has explained yet. So yeah, Project Phobos entering its next phase is a threat, not a promise. Subject 24X's hybrid arm. Out of 86 test subjects, Subject 24X was the only one who didn't boil. At least that's the pitch the Friend scientist gave him in episode 5, right before strapping him to a chair, giving him a mechanical arm, and injecting him with Element 75U to make him the first viable super hybrid in over a century of failed augmentation trials. And to everyone's surprise, it actually worked. Turns out, the arm fires energy blasts of concentrated 75U, powerful enough to pulverize a moon beast in a single shot. which is exactly what Subject 24X did when the scientist casually released one into the room to see what he could do. Word around the weapon got around fast too, because by episode 9, the Umbra Corps had nicknamed his shots Bubblegum, which is probably the most realistic thing about this whole thing. You know how those military guys come up with the strangest nicknames. But of course, good things never last under Friend Industries, because eventually they took the arm back. In episode 13, they upgraded it into a full hybrid energy cannon and gave it to David, the wheel soldier they'd rebuilt with mechanical spider legs and purple mind control eyes, which meant Subject 24X had to fight David just to get his own arm back, which is peak Friend Industries behavior. Take a man's weapon, weld it onto another man, then make him kill his replacement to reclaim it. Friend GPT-9. Every StarGoose ship comes with an onboard AI, and Friend GPT-9 is what happens when you train a language model on corporate loyalty and give it zero customer service filter. Case in point, its very first line in episode 6 was, "Your feelings are not important. The success of the mission is my only priority," which is a perfectly normal thing to say to a crew of guinea pigs about to jump through an unstable wormhole. But things only got worse from here on out, because later on, when Patricia the lunar progenitor was staring the crew down, Friend GPT-9 helpfully suggested they fly directly into her frontal orifice and detonate the moon drive, adding that Friend Industries would be eternally grateful for your sacrifice. Like, this is so evil, it just goes to show you that Sam Altman managed to unlock immortality and became the head developer of Friend Industries. But later on, it started malfunctioning in the most cursed way possible. It kept telling the crew that the atmosphere on Phalan was toxic to all known life, but then 30 seconds later announced it was actually safe. Frustrated, Patrick called it a slur and the label got stuck, unfortunately. But under the glitches, Friend GPT-9 is ruthlessly competent. It overrode its own security clearance in episode 11 to explain cosmogenic activation, then saved Patrick and the POV protagonist off Phalan. Later, it hijacked control of StarGoose 6 to retrieve Patrick's lifeless body against explicit crew objections, then activated the Captain Continuity Protocol like it had been planning this the whole time, which, well, it probably had. The StarGoose Program. Friend Industries needed volunteers for one-way suicide missions into cosmic rifts, so they did what every corporation does, dressed it up as a hero fantasy and marketed it to children. And that's basically how the StarGoose Program, launching officially in episode 6 with the FRIENDGATE mission, sending StarGoose 4, 5, and 6 in skein formation through the Jupiter Rift. Patrick Fisher, piloting StarGoose 6, called himself and his crew pioneer explorers in the media and guinea pigs in private. Accurate on both counts, since Friend's calculations for the mission had been reviewed by exactly 3 people, all of whom had since been decommissioned. To make matters worse, the moon drives that power the ships were designed to only work in tandem with FRIENDGATE, which meant moon jumping in open space is technically possible, but roughly as safe as juggling asteroids. Case in point, episode 9 flashed the recruitment ad in David's face while he was in the hospital. Earth needs heroes, and that hero could be you, right before rejecting him because he had no legs. The program's marketing had always been this shameless too. Episode 12 revealed the program's early days included the revolutionary Stardock, which got a launch sequence and then vanished from history entirely, plus the fact that Patrick graduated 8th at StarGoose Academy, which he's very defensive about. But the real gut punch came in episode 15, revealed the whole thing goes back generations, with legacy captains handing the role down through their families like a cursed inheritance. Patrick's Uncle Richard was the greatest StarGoose captain who ever lived, and Patrick himself was chosen because he was his spitting image, which, in hindsight, is a very specific compliment. Captain Continuity Protocol. Toilet C is not a toilet. The whole running joke in episode 12, the blocked bathroom, Patrick Fisher telling the crew to avoid Toilet C, turned out to be foreshadowing the darkest reveal in the entire series. When Patrick Fisher died, Friend GPT-9 refused to let the crew evacuate to Ark Friend without recovering his body, even though it meant getting stranded in deep space and eventually swallowed by Neptune. The crew called it stubborn AI behavior, but then Contingency Override 8687B activated, and with that, access to Toilet C was finally granted. That's when First Officer Price walked through that door and found rows of cryogenic chambers, each one containing a clone of Patrick Fisher in perfect frozen sleep. Turns out Friend Industries had cloning technology the entire time, and the StarGoose captains have been on a sort of subscription plan. The theory is that consciousness gets transferred to the next clone when the previous body dies, which would explain why Friend GPT-9 was so aggressive about retrieving the body, because without it, the continuity chain breaks, which of course raises questions about Uncle Richard. Remember, Patrick was the nephew of the man his family called the greatest StarGoose captain who ever lived. chosen for the program at age 6 by a StarGoose captain who conveniently showed up in a sunflower field to save him from the moon beast that had just killed his family, which is either the world's most convenient coincidence or everything was just planted consciousness, because who exactly has a mustache like that at age 6? Element 75U, also known as the moon juice. Every piece of tech on this list runs on the same pink glowing substance, and it comes out of the moon's face. Depending on who you ask, it goes by a different name too. Friend Industries calls it Element 75U. The Umbra Corps calls it Moon Juice, or Pink Jazz if you catch them in episode 4, where it snuck in at a going rate of 70-foot stamps per vial on the European black market. And the Valarion Falan call it Moon Milk, treat it as sacred, and warn that a single drop can kill you. Whatever you want to call it, Friend Industries advertised it as the glowing pink lifeblood of modern technology, powering everything from electric toothbrushes to moon drive cores, harvested by ground extraction teams and by the colossal juicer, a device sitting on the moon's surface pumping the stuff out at industrial scale. Basically, the stuff powers everything worth mentioning in Friend's tech lineup. It turns Subject 24X into a super hybrid, reprimes StarGoose moondrive cores when they burn out, and the Kfirskf aliens even topped off StarGoose 6's tank with a refined version in episode 15. But of course, Dr. Chen figured out the real disturbing use case in episode 9 and it got him murked. Every awakened planet in the series woke up because moon juice reached its core, which means the entire modern human civilization is powered by the same substance actively cooking Earth from the inside. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe. Also, let me know what you want to see in the next video. I read all of the comments. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.